in terms of isolation and social connections and coping with mental health, we learned in the SOGI Survivor Project that survivors have very common experiences. The impacts on them in terms of isolation and lack of social connections, it happens during the experience of conversion practices, and it happens afterwards. Survivors most often lose relationships, they lose safe spaces they thought were safe. If they come out, if they're not able to come out, that's even more of a challenge. They experience further isolation and erasure when they leave communities, whether it's families or faith communities. And we really need mental health practitioners who understand the impacts and the harm caused by conversion practices, who understand trauma, complex trauma, developmental trauma, religious trauma, because the vast majority of conversion practices happen within faith communities and faith homes, and people who are people of faith, and they may take it into their work as a social worker or as a psychiatrist. So we need people that understand conversion practices and are able to integrate and help an individual to integrate the whole of their identities. Often what's experienced by survivors in a therapist's office who's affirming of LGBTQ two-spirit people is they're said, oh, you experienced conversion practices, or you went through that and it's not named conversion practices, but that's what they went through. Oh, you experienced that, that's terrible, but I'm so glad you're out, and now you can embrace yourself fully. It's not that simple. The harm and the trauma caused needs to be dealt with, needs to be acknowledged, because that's the first step in healing. So we need therapists that are informed, and we need our regulatory bodies of counselors and therapists, social workers, psychiatrists, psychologists, to hold their membership accountable to the federal law, which condemns and prohibits these practices from happening. And to have ways to deal with members who are continuing to do this. Survivors have a lot to cope with, both during and after their experience of conversion practices. One of the most common experiences has been how easily we dismiss our own experience and we compare it to others, and we say, oh, they've experienced it much worse than I have. That was my own experience when I was invited in 2021 to lead the SOGI CT Survivor Support Project. I was hesitant because mine was many years ago, and I looked at people that went to these camps, you know, beat over the head with the Bible, I mean, all sorts of horrible assaults that happened, and my experience wasn't that bad. So could I take the dare I identify as a survivor? I did finally acknowledge that yes, I do, and yes, I have experienced these practices, and we dismiss our own experiences, and identifying as a survivor, identifying as a person who's been harmed, like I said, is the first step towards healing. Many people, many trans people in particular, don't think of their experience with the mental health system as conversion practices. Gender affirming care is not the standard for a lot of people. Gender exploratory therapy is, which pathologizes and looks for the roots of why you became trans, or why you have this problem with gender dysphoria. And their goal is to change or to make you normal, heterosexual and cisgender. So the ways that people cope is finding affirming people, finding affirming they can be to us LGBTQ IA plus people. They can be allies. You know, anyone who's affirming of who they are. They need to be listened to and really heard. They need so many things they need. Read the SOGI Survivor Support Project. It talks all about the healing. It talks all about the barriers that are experienced by survivors. I'm really looking forward to sharing news about the Stop Conversion Practices website that CBRC has just launched, stopconversionpractices.ca. And it's a knowledge and research sharing initiative done in partnership with No Conversion Canada, where we share all this information about conversion practices, and we also address the federal law, explain it a little bit more, and then provide links to research by CBRC across Canada and globally as well. There are supports and resources that will be there, and we'll be adding to that in the months ahead. So that's really exciting. My understanding is it's the first of its kind to have this kind of focus, and it's just key to say it is survivor-led and survivor-informed. Myself as a survivor engaging with hundreds of other survivors, and folks from cross-sectoral individuals who've been involved over the last year in helping to create this. So I'm excited.